प्रीतम मन मोहन, तेरे दर्शन को हम बारे, लाल रंगीले प्रीतम मन मोहन। क्या गुण तेरे सार समाली, क्या गुण तेरे सार समाली। मोहे निर्गुण के दातारे, खरीद क्या करे चतुराई, खरीद क्या करे चतुराई। हे जिया पिंड सब थारे, तेरे दर्शन को हम बारे, लाल रंगीले प्रीतम मन मोहन। प्रभुदाता मोहे दीन पेखारी, प्रभुदाता मोहे दीन पेखारी। तुम सदा सदा उपकारे, सो किछ नाही जे मैं ते होवे, सो किछ नाही जे मैं ते होवे। मेरे ठाकुर अगम अपारे, तेरे दर्शन को हम बारे, लाल रंगीले प्रीतम मन मोहन। क्या सेव कमाओ, क्या कह रिझाऊं, क्या सेव कमाऊं, क्या कह रिझाऊं। बिद कित पाऊं दरसारे, मित नहीं पाए अंत न लहीए, मित नहीं पाए अंत न लहीए। मन तर से दर्शन को हम बारे लाल रंगीले प्रीतम मन मोहन पाओ दान टीठ होए मांगू पाओ दान टीठ होए मांगू मुख लागे संत रे नारे जन नानक को गुर कृपा तारी जन नानक को गुर कृपा तारी प्रभ हाथ दे निस्तारे तेरे दर्शन को हम बारे लाल रंगीले प्रीतम मन मोहन तेरे दर्शन को हम बारे लाल रंगीले प्रीतम मन मोहन
There is no comparison with unconditional love. The greatest thing that I have experienced in life is the unconditional love of a master. In the case of a perfect living master, the love flows from him to anybody who meets him. And the love flows incessantly forever to those who are initiated by him. And that love can be experienced 24 hours for those who are initiated by him. For others, when they meet, they can experience love in their hearts. Even many of the doubts we have,
Good morning, everyone. Mike, Ron, Dietrich, Stephanie, Bobby, everyone, Amit, Anita, Natalie, Agushra. I can't say all the names, but love to you all and hugs to you all and welcome. Welcome to love. Here, I'll bring the love bell. Welcome to love and welcome to our Holy Father, Ishwar Puriji. Look at the gorgeous schedule. It has love and it has gorgeous colors, beautiful colors. I love it so much. So we have starting a hymn by Nisha, our dear sister. My beloved, come and meet me. Looking forward. Then Dr. Chand is going to tell us what's on his spiritual radar. Then we have introduction by me. Then we have a talk by our dear sister Tina. And the topic is Guru Nanak Dev. So I'm looking forward. I have then selected few clips of Master that have beautiful answers to some questions. So I hope they answer our questions. And looking forward, wishing you oceans and oceans of divine bliss and divine love from the source of creation, from Father God, Mother God. So enjoy satsang. Let's start with our dear sister.
Radha Swami, today's hymn is by Mirabai. Here Mirabai is beseeching her beloved master to come and meet her. She says, "Why have you forsaken me? Please come and meet me, my beloved. I have been waiting for you since many days. I want to surrender my mind and body to you. Please come and meet me, my beloved. A great yearning is there for your darshan. Please be merciful and come to me. Mira's beloved Lord, you are the ocean of happiness. Please grant me your darshan. Please come and meet me." आए मिलो मोहे प्रीतम प्यारे, हमको छाड़ भय क्यों न्यारे। आए मिलो, आए मिलो, आए मिलो देहो सुख के सागर मीरा के प्रभ गिरधर नागर आए तरस देहो सुख के सागर आए मिलो मोहे प्रीतम प्यारे हमको छाड़ भय क्यों न्यारे आए मिलो आए मिलो आए मिलो मोहे प्रीतम प्यारे हमको छाड़ भय क्यों न्यारे आए मिलो मोहे प्रीतम प्यारे. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Lord Radha Swami.
Thank you, dear sister Nisha. That was beautiful. Oh, Master, come meet me. And the pictures of Master are gorgeous also. So we thank you for your seva, for your continuous seva. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much, dear sister. And now Dr. Chand is going to tell us what's on his spiritual radar.
Wonderful, Now this particular word you use, it's something wonderful, so exciting. What is on the radar? And let it be always this way, what I have to talk on spiritual radar. Today's, what radar is telling me today, that, there is a line in our Indian language, we call it Savdhani Hati or Durghatna Ghati. Means that as soon as you say, the example is that if you are driving on the road and if you are not alert, accident can happen any moment. So what has to be done while driving? What you do, that you are watching on the road, looking at the traffic coming in or at your back or on the sides and all, where you got to take a turn and where is red light and how you will go through, where to do the speeding. Now this is what is all, that you got to remain alert. And this alertness is now on this radar today. I would like to say that the radar is telling me that most of us are not taking care. We are not alert while driving this body into this world, which is a time-bound creation. So here we got to be so apt and so alert that we should know where to, steer our vehicle, this body, having this mind in it, and the soul which is driving it. Sometimes the mind will really try to create problems to really draw your attention to itself. And instead of that, once the mind takes over the steering in his hand, then the chances of accidents are so many. A small little deviation from your path can bring you that, and you can get into an accident, which is your karma, of course. But now the master has told us a beautiful thing. To avoid all those karmas which are really dragging us into this predestined torture. Of course, we decided about all this. Pains and pleasures are there. But once we know that we are here for a while, and if the master have initiated us, He has given us a license to drive, and to license to drive safely in this world. So the point is to be so alert and try to drive with all those attributes of the divine, which is love, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, wisdom, humility, state of art planning ability, and let us face as it comes. And justice. This is what we got to take care of that. And with this, the master keeps you happy on this journey. He has told us that method. So radar is telling that we must remain alert. The beauty is that once you are not in your car, say for example, you are driving an aeroplane, what really happens that you fly up into the sky and put it in automation mode, and autopilot takes over. So the master takes over your life as an autopilot and he runs it. So today's radar is purely telling you to remain alert. And once I say that you are in meditation, at that time also, to get the best results, you got to remain alert. And to remain alert, there is a very scientific explanation to that. That from a wakeful state, you enter into a dream state. And from dream state, you go into the deep sleep arena. And from that, you go to the next step known as Turiya Pad. And from Turiya Pad, you got to be Turiyatit. So let me explain you this. That from a wakeful state, you are entering into a dream. If you are alert, my dear, you will be able to see. You will be able to monitor your mind that it is going through a dream. And who's the fellow who's really experiencing it? It is your soul, experiencing through the mind that you are going through a small dream. And as soon as you go to the slumber, a jerk of a deep sleep will come, your head will really turn in that. At that time, if you are alert, now the alertness has to be followed from one stage to the other. As if you're driving on the road, now there is a culvert, there is a bridge. So this particular area of the sleep area, when you get into that deep sleep, so you are monitoring that now you are, going on to that bridge. If you are alert, you will be able to know that now you have passed through a small little dip, which takes you into the deep sleep. Now you are still monitoring. And the next step is so beautiful that you become fully aware. Your awareness increases. And the body is sleeping. The mind is also sleeping. Now, this is what you are monitoring because you have crossed the region, of that dream and of the deep sleep as well. Now you are coming to a fully wakeful state where the spiritual journey starts. And that's where you got to understand that you are now a fully wakeful state. Your awareness increases so huge. And that's how you got to go to the next step known as Turiyatit. Means from that fully wakeful state, you are entering into a new world where you are encountering the master and going through all those explanations, which especially Prempalji does, and he explains you about different stages, that you are crossing through the Bhavar Gufa, you're crossing to the, Sahasradal Kamal, and all those regions, then if you are monitoring what really happens, that monitoring really empowers your mind, and that gives you that experience that through sense perceptions you are trying to know the beautiful regions, and these sense perceptions are in the astral region, of course. Then you go beyond in the causal region. You enjoy journey, this particular journey has to be enjoyed, because if you are monitoring, if you are alert, my dear, then you start enjoying that music, and that music, celestial music, you start enjoying all those. And that's what you're driving in this time, which is less than 100 years of window. Your driving pleasure will be fantastic. You will be enjoying that Shabbat which is happening. You will enjoy those sceneries, crossing through the skies and stars, looking at the meadows down there, those beautiful experiences. Then you look at the Master in its radiant form. So now this journey really becomes so beautiful if you are cautious. If you are not, then we can meet some accidents here. And we very well know that mind deals with information and it distracts you by providing that information. How that information is provided to the soul through the mind. There is, as I always say in my explanation, that there is high tide, low tide in the sea. And that's what the universal mind runs your mind in your body as well. You have got 75-80% water, that blood within your body. It has got those high tides, low tides, because the whole world is changing every moment. And all those things, ups and downs, are taking place. Day and night, are there. And all that life, the struggle of life, the troubles of life, they keep on coming. Sometimes pleasures keep on coming. So all these pains and pleasures are like high tide, low tides. So now you got to know that how to really drive during all these periods. So being alert all the time is only one method. Saints have beautifully told you that. All the satsangs you listen every day, that the Simran provides you this. You must remember you are a soul, and this soul is driving the mind and body. You should not allow your body and mind to run the system, Don't allow them to drive, because they always get into their into their own experiences, whatever they like. As I always say, the hunger withdraws the attention, the body need. Then the mind is looking after the taste it had earlier. So it informs you and, distracts you. Even while driving, you are eating an ice cream or your lunch, you open up that roll and start eating. But it can disturb your attention, my dear. So please remain alert while going through this life, and let us enjoy all those aspects of spirituality. So this is what my spiritual radar wanted to say something today. Thank you, Michael. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Dr. Chand. Uh, Thank you for your spiritual radar every day that you give us a beautiful message. We really appreciate it. And yes, starting this satsang, for those who love Sant Kirpal Singh, who are here, I put my head on his feet. For those who love Sant Ajayib, I put my head on his feet. For those who love Santakar Singh, I put my head on his feet. And Ishwar Puri Ji, I also put my head on his feet. Starting satsang, I just wanted to say that I put my head. Did I say head or feet? I hope I said head. I put my head on the feet of all the saints and masters, starting the satsang, and I pray to them that they conduct our meeting, our holy meeting together, and they shower everyone here to the brim and fill the cup of all of us. We're all thirsty for the cup of nectar. And I'm really, really, really looking forward to sip that wine of God with you, my holy family, every day. and have a godly party every day. And I like to see all of you coming. And when someone is missing, my heart hurts because I know that Sant Kirpal, I know Ishwar Puri Ji, I know that Baba Sawan Singh really every day pour into our cup the elixir of God. Every day we meet in the name of the saints and masters. We put our head on their feet and we beg, please take our ego away. Please conduct the satsang as you will. Don't let our mind take over. Please, please let the soul take over and let God take over. Let the God power take over. And really, when we meet in the name of the saints and masters every day, then the God power takes over and the master power, the Christ power, the Buddha power. It takes over because we are meeting in the name of that power. And where two or more meet in my name, there I am, as Christ said. And that's the beauty of satsang. The beauty of satsang is we bring the divinity out of all of us. Out of all of us, we bring the divinity, that beautiful thing. And this life, as Dr. Chand said, is not a bed of roses. Rather, it's a blessed calamity, really. What I look when I see it and I look at it, it's a blessed calamity. It's not a bed of roses. The saints and masters called it the valley of death. Evil rules here, and all are to suffer. Evil rules here, and all are to suffer. And us, the initiates of the perfect master, when we came into this world, we knew that it is not bed of roses. We knew that it's the valley of death. And we knew that we're entering an oven. And when we enter an oven, of course, the heat is there, the fire is there. When we enter a bathroom, the smell is there. The bad smells are there. And this world has the good smells and the bad smells. It's not a bed of roses. There's the ups and downs, and we are all going to have to go through the ups and downs. The ups and downs are called karma. It's called cal, or time and space, that we have to suffer. And for the fighters of God, for the fighters of the mission of God, we also, when we came to this world, we know that we are going to face the enemy. So when we go to a battle, there is a battle there. It's not a vacation. When we are in the battlefield, it's not a vacation. Then the war is there, the screams are there, the bombs are there, and the suffering is there. So we are in a battlefield. We are in a battlefield, but the most important thing is then when we go into this battlefield called planet Earth, we have Master with us. We have Master with us. We have God with us. And to be alert, like Dr. Chand says, to be alert is to always know that God is with us. And we will go through this fire, but He is with us and He will cool the fire. To be alert means to keep thinking that, to know the truth, that we have been initiated by a perfect master. Master is inside of us and with us every moment of the time. We just have to keep reminding ourselves, as the mind wants us to forget who we are, why we are here, and wants to bring the problems, and wants to take our attention from Master. Wants to take our attention from Master. I will tell you a story that happened to me yesterday, and I told it to my dear sister. But the story is that, remember the satsang yesterday of Karen, and how she said that when we come to this world, we have to suffer. We have to suffer, and our suffering elevates humanity. Our suffering elevates humanity. That when we become very, very, very developed from inside, in God, in the kingdom of God, in spirituality, then Master uses us also to distribute the suffering, so that not just the Master suffers, but all his very, very close ones. They suffer for the world. Oh my God, hold on. Let me just mute my phone. I forgot to mute it. That he sent us here and there is suffering, and this suffering is expected, and Master with us. And the very, very close ones to God, they also suffer to alleviate the world from a lot of suffering. They take on the suffering of their families, they take on the suffering of new initiates. They also, that is also distributed to the very, very, very close ones to Master. And Karen yesterday in her satsang, she read from Sant Singh, and about it was about this. It was about this subject that the warriors in the mission of God, they also suffer. And when they suffer, sometimes they suffer during seva. When we suffer while doing seva, then that also, Master uses that to elevate a lot of pain from us, from this world, to pay off the karma. As really the army of the Master, the people who came with the Master as part of his army, they some came from God and the kingdom of God, and they had no karma, and some karma has been given to them. So when they suffer here, they suffer to elevate other people's karma, of other people's karma. This has been taught to us by many saints, including my master, Sant Singh. And yesterday, this my sister asked me a question about this because she said Ishwar Puri never talked about this. And then a situation happened to me. A situation happened to me at work. I was intoxicated in God, singing for Master. Somebody came and couldn't stand that love, and thought I was crazy. And in 30 seconds after entering my car, they left and they sent a bad review about me to Uber, that they felt uncomfortable. And all I said is I greeted them and I continued I was so in love with God and I was just singing for God. So just because of singing for God, I got like a bad review, an attack of Cal that really like tried to take my attention from Master so I can fix this problem. I had to call Uber. I had to like see what happened and to just, it took my attention. This is just an example of how when we do seva. I remember when I was doing seva in the ashram of Sant Singh, and I was transporting people from the airport and the bus station into the ashram. That was also my seva, to transport people to Master, to God, to transport people to the King, to God on earth. And one day I was going to bring the people, and the police stopped me and gave me a big ticket for speeding. And I was like, at that time, I didn't understand. I'm like, where is Master? Where is Master? How come this was allowed to happen to me? Well, now after many, many years, and after a lot of meditation, and after being so for many years on the path, I kind of know what really happened, that this, what happened to me was a big karma payment, that suffering that I had to go through, financial suffering, mental suffering, and whatever I had to go through was also to pay off my own karma, and also to help Master pay karma of the world, as he uses all of us. He uses all of us, especially during seva. When we suffer during seva, that's a big, big, big blessing to our soul and to the world, to our soul and to the world, when we are doing seva for Master. So Master uses us in many, many, many ways, in many, many ways. And sometimes we do not know, but we knew that before we came to this world, before we entered the dream, before we entered this dream, we were in Godhood, we were God, and we chose to come here. We chose to come here as it was the Moj of Satpursh, our Holy Father in the holy heavens. It was his Moj that he sent us here to do seva. And also, so when we come back, we will be greeted in the party, in the court of Lord God. And then we will appreciate the light much, 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 much more. And he will take us to even higher and higher and higher regions. As the start of the kingdom of God, the saints say, is in such Kant. But there is much more higher than that. Agam, Anam, and Alak, all these higher regions, they exist there. And us coming down here and doing seva for Master, then when we go back, we go to even higher and higher and higher regions. So, so this is a big, big blessing to all of us, a big blessing to all of us that whatever we go through over here in this world, in the ups and downs, in the ups and downs, and really sometimes in in the poems of Hafiz and Rumi, they say people who are the closest to God, he pours salt into their wounds, pours salt into their wounds. Don't be scared, but that suffering we go through is the biggest blessing in disguise. As I read a poem the other day from Khalil Gibran, and I remember that said that the sorrow carves a pit inside of us, a deep pit, and the more the sorrow or the suffering, it carves deeper pits inside of us that are only filled with joy, that are only filled with bliss, that are only filled with ecstasy. So really, the suffering of this world that we go through, take it as the biggest blessing. As Rumi says, it is from our suffering. From the wound enters the light. From the wound enters the light. And this is a very big blessing to all of us. I wanted to read to you something from Sant Kirpal, because I know each one of us here, so many of us here, our grandmaster is Sant Kirpal, or our direct master. Like there are some people here also that their direct master is Sant Kirpal. And I just opened the page a moment ago, just before satsang for 1 second, and I saw about, he's talking about the holy music, the celestial music. And what is happening, he's saying saints are living in that shabd. That shabd is them. They are part of the shabd, they are in the shabd, and the shabd is emitting from them. So every word, since that's it, that music, they are in the music of God. They live in the music of God. And then when they speak to us, even they might not be singing, but it's just words. But the words, that word is like charged with the music of God. And when it comes out of their mouth, for us, it's a word, but there is something much more powerful behind that word. And that is the Shabd. It's charged with the Shabd. That word came out of the Shabd. So it is part of the Shabd. In this world, it came out in the form of language. However, if we go inside, if we look closely at this word that came out of the mouth of the Master, it is came directly from Shabd, it came directly from God, and it has the celestial music, and it has that subtle energy of God. The subtlest energy is the energy of Master and God. And that is why the subtle attracts the coarse. The subtle changes the coarse energy. In this world, in the world of material, it is the coarsest energy, the coarsest matter. It's in the world, we are in the world of matter. And then when that subtleness of God and the kingdom of God comes to us in the form of a word, and it doesn't have to be a word, it can come to us in a form of a drishti, it can come to us in the form of silence, just in the presence of the Master. In the presence of the Master, so much of this subtle energy, so much of this shabd is being transmitted to us. And that is why we fall in love, because that shabd that is transmitted by the Master, that shabd, that frequency of God, the frequency of God, the frequency of the kingdom of God is love. It is love. So from our smallest love that is inside of us, that big love, the love of God, touches our heart, and that small love that is inside of us gets connected to that big love, and then is dragged to that big love, and then we fall in love. Small love falls in love with big love. Small love falls in love with big love, and then there is the pull. There is the pull of the drop into the ocean, and there is a pull of the drop pulling the ocean in it. The drop and the ocean merges in the drop, and the drop becomes the ocean pours itself into the drop. The drop is calling on the ocean is calling on the drop, because they have the same frequency now. They have the same frequency. The small love got connected to the big love, and that big love poured itself into the small love, and now there is no difference. The small love and the big love are one. And that's how Master works on us. Really, they don't even have to say their words, of course, are imbued with the color of the music, of the inner music, but also the presence. There was a story of a Sant Kirpal walking on a land, and then they were trying to find water in that land, and that guy that was trying to find water, he said there are miles of love inside this ground, miles of love. Why? Because the God man walked on it, and the God man, when he walked on it, then it became love. There is miles and miles of love deep in that earth. So imagine our situation when we are in the midst of love, when we sit in the company of the Master, and all that subtle vibration comes to us. That subtle vibration is the beauty of God, the beauty of God, where the garden is, where the garden is always blossoming. And when the soul touches that love, when the soul is affected by love, do you think it will go back to the thorns? It will never go back to the thorns. Once affected by love, the soul never goes back to the thorns. It's a one way ticket into the eternity of love, into the music of God. Once that music is tasted, once that music of God is tasted, then what happens? It's a one way ticket, and we will never go back to the thorns. We will never go back to the thorns. That means we will never go back to the dictates of the mind. Once, once we taste the inner elixir of God, once that subtle energy of love, of Shabd, of Nam, touches our heart, touches our soul, connects our soul, feeds our soul, purifies our mind, then we become so addicted to God, that there is no way we can turn back to the thorn. There is no way we want to go back to depression, anxiety, fear. Why? Because we're connected to Shab. We have the Master with us. And we know the King of Kings is living with us. And there is no place for fear. When the King of Kings is living in us, love is inside of us. Is there a place for fear? No. And what Dr. Chand is saying, be alert, that means remind yourself constantly. Remind yourself constantly that the King of Kings is living in me. I am here. It's a show. It's just a show. He has sent us here. He has sent us here, but he has equipped us. He sent us to the fire, but while we are in the fire, he's cooling us with his heart, with his cooling heart. The coolness of the moon he is giving us. The coolness of the moon. So even though we go through the fires, but he is also cooling us, fanning us with the coolness of love while we go through these fires. So these fires will not affect us. These fires will not affect us. And we can go through them. We can go through them easily. We can go through them easily. Cal can try to do anything it wants. And it always does. It always does. It always does try to work against God, to try to put us down, to say, oh, really? Really? You are saying that God will pay all your debts and there will be no more sorrows, no more suffering, and no more worries. And then it will hit you with a missile of worry, just to create some worry inside of you. But then we are alert, those of us who are really deeply in God, always, always remembering Master. Then when that missile of worry is hit towards us, then we have a counter missile, an anti, and we you know those in the war, those airplanes, when they used to hit them with the anti air anti planes missile, they had like a system where they emit heat. They emit a bubble of heat. So when the missile comes towards the airplane, it hits that bubble of heat, and then it's diverted from the airplane because it's a heat-seeking missile. And the same way, when the negative power attacks us with a missile of negativity, then we emit Simran. Simran. We emit Simran, which is our alertness that we are in God. Simran protects us from all negativity. And even if that rocket hits us due to some karma that Master wants us to go through for some reason to elevate us, to elevate the world from a lot of suffering, then it is okay because He is with us. He will manage us to go out of it. He will manage us to go out of it. So many people who go through even surgeries, just the payment of karma, old initiates, you know, they also doing it with the master. And in their surgery, when they go out, when they give them the anesthesia, so many hundreds of stories I read of people seeing the master doing the job with the doctor, holding the hand of the doctor, and doing the surgery. So whatever we go through in this world, we are very blessed. We have the King of Kings with us, and the King of Kings arranges everything. And we just have to relax in Him. To be alert is to relax in God and know that He's taking care of the situation, and to know He sent us here. Whoever sent us here has to sustain us, has to provide our food, has to provide our shelter, and has to take care of us. We did not come here on our own accord. We have been sent here. Whoever sent us here has to take care of us. And we are the blessed souls of God. We are the children of God. We're not like the regular people of this world who are totally disconnected from Shabd. People who are totally disconnected from Shabd, they don't have that support. They don't have the master of the King of Kings, the Emperor of creation with them. So they suffer and they keep coming in the cycle of birth, suffering, death, birth, suffering, death, birth, suffering, death. And they suffer and suffer and suffer. But us, we have broken the wheel of time. And now we're out of the wheel. We're coming here, most of us, to do seva. To do seva, to go even higher and higher in love, deeper in love, in the core of creation. So us being here is a very, very blessed situation. Let me read to you. And yesterday, the negative power hit me with an arrow of worry. And then at the end of the night, there were two seekers from Iran who came with me, and it was a 43 minutes of satsang talking about Rumi and Hafiz and about the holy light and the holy sound. And they got the name of Ishwar, the name of Sant Singh, and my phone number, and they're gonna contact me, and they're gonna listen to the satsangs. Master really blessed them. So yes, in this blessed calamity, there is the ups and downs. You go through the downs of Kal attacking, but then you go through the ups of Master sending us seva. And we do the seva with love and devotion, and that is the joy. That is the joy. Then all worries are forgotten when we are doing seva, because why? When we are doing seva, we're totally concentrated on Master, and Master, there is no worry in Master. There is no fear in Master. When we are doing seva for Master with love and devotion, then it is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful feeling, a joy, a continuous joy, a continuous peace, a continuous ecstasy, and a continuous flow of divine wine, that will only get better and better and better as we progress more and more and more on the path of love. That wine will become tastier. At some points, we're going to be totally drunk and lost in God, as Rumi and Hafiz say. I should read to you that poem. Where is that poem? There is a poem about pour me the cup. Cupbearer, I am sobering. Give me your hand. Offer me wine. Either fill up the water carrier's bag or fill the bag and give it to the water carrier. You drink half of it. Give me the rest. No, no, no. For God's sake, give me the whole thing. Give me the whole cup of nectar. O instigator of men and women, break my door tonight. take all my belongings, loot everything. If you want to make the whole sea the fountain of life, pour one drop from your glass into the sea. Oh, listen to this. If you want to make the whole sea the fountain of life, pour just one drop from your glass into the sea. Imagine one drop of love pours on this world from the Master. It changes it to the fountain of life. If you don't want, okay, yes. So this is I read this poem this morning and I was like, wow, wow, I have to read it to my holy family. I don't know. Let me see if because I don't know. I can read tomorrow from the book of Sant Kirpal. But because we have Bhavani, she wants to sing, and then we're gonna have to play the Seva of Tina. Let me see. So Bhavani, you want to sing for us while I check how many minutes is Tina?
Yes. Do you have enough time?
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Radha Swami, brothers and sisters, I'd like to sing the song that I always sing. It's called Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace, how sweet the Lord sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. My chains are gone and I've been set free. My God, my Savior has ransomed me, and like a flood his mercy reigns, unending love. The Lord has promised good to me. His word is my hope secures. He will be my shield as long as life endures. My chains are gone and I've been set free. Papa Ishwarji, our Savior, He saved us all like a flood. His mercy reigns on us. Amazing grace, the earth shall soon dissolve like snow. The sun forbear to shine, but God who called me here below will be forever mine. Thank you, Radhaswami. Thank you so much, so much for Seva. Thank you.
Wow, Sister Bhavani, I love Amazing Grace. One of my favorite, Amazing Grace. And yes, it is an amazing grace to be with all of you, my holy family, and with you, Bhavani. Thank you for waking up and doing the seva. We really love it every time we wake up. Anyone else wants to do seva? Because we have like 8 minutes extra. Anybody wants to say something? Okay, since I said, I will tell you something from Sant Kirpal, unless somebody wants to say something. But this is the book of Naam, and I will read just a page because we have few minutes. The inner music of the soul is the real song. Its tunes are self-existing and self-supporting and need no outer aids of hands, feet, or tongue, and lead to the source from whence they come, the minstrel divine. The sweet symphonies of the music float without the aid of the hands and feet. Whoever communes with this music, he beholds the truth, Guru Nanak. The strains of the heavenly music become manifest only to the one who is a true devotee of the Master. Through a Master soul, many get benefited. A devotee of the Lord sees and sings of his glory. He bears the playing cymbals, bells, guitar, and flute. He surrenders his all to him and gets to the truth. Whoever believes in him gets the path and ends his round of births. He doth escape the fires of hell, O Nanak, and truly comes to his own. Guru Arjan. Let's see. The Sufis, in particular, call music a divine or celestial art, not only because of its use in religion and devotion, and because in itself a universal religion, but because of the fitness in comparison with all other arts and sciences. Every sacred scripture, holy picture, or spoken word produces the impression of its identity and leaves its own image upon the mirror of the soul. But the music stands before the soul without producing any impressions, whatever of either name or form of the object world, of the objective world, thus preparing the soul to realize the infinite. The Sufi recognizes its importance, calls music ghaza al-ruh, the sustenance of the soul, the food of the soul, and uses it as a source of spiritual perfection. For music fans, the fire of the heart and the flame arising from it illuminates the soul. The yogis and ascetics blow a conch, a big horned instrument, or a big shell to awaken in them the inner tune. Dervishes play nai, a double flute, for the same purpose. The bells and gong in the churches and temples are meant to suggest to the thinker the same sacred sound, and thus lead him towards the inner life. Music used as the art of arts and the science of sciences, containing the fountain of knowledge, is helpful in developing the finer sense of hearing. But if practiced for the exhibition and show, or as means of earning a living, it loses its inherent charm and real utility. The saints at times press music into their service as a handy aid in collecting an audience, for people generally attracted more by music than by anything else. Again, it is out of the abundance of the heart a man speaketh. As the true saints are imbued with the intoxication of the inner unstruck divine music, anhat, the spontaneous songs welling out of the depth of their soul bring about a tremendous impact on the listeners. Wow, it brings a tremendous impact on the listeners. At times, transform their very being. It transforms their very being, instantaneously leading them to full spiritual affluence. So I think that's enough. Thank you, Master, for the seva. And now we can play our dear sister Tina and her seva about Guru Nanak. So enjoy.
Hi, my beautiful family. With the blessings of my holy family and the blessings of our beloved Ishwar Puri Ji Maharaj and Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj, I will continue the seva of Asa Ki Var. My sources of Asa Ki Var are Dr. T.S. Shingari, RSSB, asakivar sikhiwiki.org, Asa Ki Var Sri Penny Sahib. As always, I will start Asa Ki Var with the recitation of the Mool Mantra, then followed by the recitation of Asa Ki Var, Paudis and Shloks in Punjabi and translations in Punjabi first, and then the translations in English. And now, the Mool Mantra. Ik Onkar Sat Nam Karta Purakh Nirpau Nirvair Akal Murat Ajuni Sehbhang Gur Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Hai Bhi Sach Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach. Shlok Mahalla Duja. एक कृष्ण सरब देवा देव देवात आत्मा आत्मा वासुदेव जे को जाने पाओ नानक का दास है सोई निरंजन दो। अर्थ इन पंजाबी। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸ਼ਲੋਕ ਵਾਲੇ ਭਾਵ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਤੋਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਇੱਕ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਸਭ ਦੇਵਤਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਦੇਵਤਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਸਭ ਦੇਵਤਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਆਤਮਾ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ ਭੇਦ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਲਵੇ ਕਿ ਆਤਮਾ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਦਾ ਰੂਪ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਨਿਰੰਜਨ ਦਾ ਰੂਪ ਹੋ ਜਾਵਣਗੇ ਅਤੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਦਾਸ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਸ਼ਲੋਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੋ ਭਾਵ ਪ੍ਰਬਲ ਹਨ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਵਰ ਸਭ ਦੇਵੀ ਦੇਵਤਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਇਸ਼ਟ ਜਾਂ ਪੂਜਨੀय ਯੋਗ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਲਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੂਜੇ ਇਸ਼ਟ ਦੀ ਬਜਾਏ ਕੇਵਲ ਇੱਕ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਵਰ ਦੀ ਪੂਜਾ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ। ਦੂਜਾ ਭਾਵ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੀਵ ਦਾ ਅਸਲ ਆਪਾ ਉਹਦੀ ਆਤਮਾ ਹੈ। ਆਤਮਾ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੀ ਅੰਸ਼ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੀ ਪਛਾਣ ਦਾ ਆਧਾਰ ਆਤਮਾ ਦੀ ਪਛਾਣ ਹੈ। ਜਦੋਂ ਆਤਮਾ ਸਰੀਰ, ਇੰਦਰੀਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਮਨ ਮਾਇਆ ਦੇ ਪਰਦੇ ਉਤਾਰ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਅਸਲ ਰੂਪ ਦੀ ਪਛਾਣ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਹਿਜ ਹੀ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੀ ਪਛਾਣ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਫਿਰ ਜੀਵਾਤਮਾ ਉਸ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਜੋਤੀ ਰੂਪ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਮਾ ਕੇ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਹੀ ਰੂਪ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। And now the translation in English. The Lord, the one Lord Krishna, is the divine Lord of all. He is the divinity of the individual soul. One who understands the mystery of all-pervading Lord, Nanak, is a slave to him. He himself is the immaculate divine Lord. Slok Mahalla Duja. जोग संबंधन, ज्ञान संबंधन, वेद संबंधन, बार ब्राह्मण, पत्री संबंधन, सूर संबंधन, शूद्र संबंधन, पराकृत सर्थ संबंधन, एक संबंधन, जे को जाने पाओ नानक ताका दास है सोई निरंजन देव। अर्थ इन पंजाबी। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਦੋ ਤੁਕਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਨੂੰ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਅਰਥ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਰਤਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਯੋਗ ਮਾਰਗ ਵਾਲੇ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਧਰਮ ਜਾਂ ਕਰਤੱਵਯ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਨ। ਬ੍ਰਾਹਮਣ ਲੋਕ ਦੇ ਵੇਦ ਤੇ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਅਮਲ ਕਰਨ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਧਰਮ ਜਾਂ ਕਰਤੱਵਯ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਨ। ਖੱਤਰੀ ਲੋਕ ਸੂਰਮਾਗਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਧਰਮ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪਰਾਈ ਕਿਰਤ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੂਦਰ ਜਾਂ ਧਰਮ ਮੰਨਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਅਸਲ ਭੇਦ ਜਾਂ ਰਹੱਸ ਸਮਝ ਲਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਰੀ ਮਾਨਵ ਜਾਤੀ ਲਈ ਇੱਕੋ ਧਰਮ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਜਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਸ ਭੇਦ ਜਾਂ ਰਹੱਸ ਸਮਝ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਸਮਝ ਲਵੋ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਮਾਇਆ ਰਹਿਤ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਰੂਪ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਦਾ ਰੂਪ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਉਸ ਦਾ ਦਾਸ ਜਾਂ ਭਗਤ ਹੈ। And now the translation in English. The way of yoga is the way of spiritual wisdom. The Vedas are the way of the Brahmins. The way of the Kshatriya is the way of bravery. The way of the Shudras is service to others. One who knows the secret that the way of all is the way of the One, Nanak, is a slave to him. He himself is the immaculate divine Lord. श्लोक महला पहला। कुंभे बत्ता जल रहे, जल बिन कुंभा ना होए। ज्ञान का बत्ता मन रहे, गुर बिन ज्ञान ना होए। Punjabi, in Punjabi the meaning is, Guru Sahib ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਘੜੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾ ਪਾਣੀ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾ ਘੜਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣ ਸਕਦਾ। ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਨ ਗਿਆਨ ਨਾਲ ਵਸ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾ ਗਿਆਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪਾਣੀ ਨੂੰ ਬੰਨ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਣ ਲਈ ਘੜਾ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਚੰਚਲ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਟਿਕਾਊ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆਉਣ ਲਈ ਗਿਆਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ। Meaning in English, water remains confined within the pitcher, but without water the pitcher could not have been formed. Just so, the mind is restrained by spiritual wisdom, but without the Guru, there is no spiritual wisdom. Pauri. Padya hove gunehgar, ta omi ਸਾਧ ਨਾ ਮਾਰੀਏ, ਜੇਹਾ ਕਾਲੇ ਕਾਲਣਾ ਤੋਵੇ ਨਾਉ ਪਚਾਰੀਏ। ਐਸੀ ਕਲਾ ਚ ਖੇਡੀਏ, ਜਿਤ ਦਰਗੇ ਗਾਇਆ ਹਾਰੀਏ। ਪੜ੍ਹੀਏ ਅਤੇ ਹਉਮੈ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਆਗੇ ਵਿਚਾਰੀਏ, ਮੈਂ ਚੱਲੇ ਸੋ ਅੱਗੇ ਮਾਰੀਏ। ਅਰਥ ਇਨ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ। ਜੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਪਾਪੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਅਤੇ ਸਾਧੂ ਭਾਵ ਨੇਕ ਪੁਰਖ ਅਨਪੜ੍ਹ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਸਾਧੂ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਸਜ਼ਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਅਨਪੜ੍ਹ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਲਈ ਮਾਫੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਵਿਦਵਾਨ ਹੈ। ਜਿਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਦਾ ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਂ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੰਸਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਜਿਹੀ ਖੇਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੇਡਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਜਿਸ ਕਾਰਨ ਮਾਲਕ ਦੀ ਦਰਗਾਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਾਜ਼ੀ ਹਾਰ ਜਾਈਏ। ਉਹਦੇ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੜ੍ਹਿਆਂ ਹੋਇਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਅਨਪੜ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਰਮਾਂ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਪਰਖ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜੋ ਮੂੰਹ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਮਨ ਚਾਹੇ ਕਰਮ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਅੱਗੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਮਾਰ ਖਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। And now the meaning in English. If an educated person is a sinner, then the illiterate holy man is not to be punished. As are the deeds done, so is the reputation one acquires. So do not play such a game which will bring you to ruin at the court of the Lord. The accounts of the educated and the illiterate shall be judged in the world hereafter. One who stubbornly follows his own mind shall suffer in the world hereafter. Shlok ਅਤੇ ਪੌੜੀ 13। नानक मेरे शरीर का एक रथवा, जुग जुग फेर वटाइए ज्ञानी बुझे ता। सचुक रथ संतोख का तरम अगे रथवा, त्रित रथ जते का जोग आगे रथवा। द्वापर रथ तपे का सत आगे रथवा, कलजुग रथ अगिन का कूड़ अगे रथवा। Earth in meaning in Punjabi. ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਫਰਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਾਲਾ ਦਾ ਸ਼੍ਰੋਮਣੀ ਮਣਕਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਜੀਵਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਮਨੁੱਖ ਸਰੀਰ ਨੂੰ ਮੇਰੂ ਵਰਗੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੈ। ਹਰ ਯੁੱਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਰੂ ਵਰਗਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਧਾਰਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਤਮਾ ਵੱਖ-ਵੱਖ ਸ਼੍ਰੋਣੀ ਭਾਵਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਧੀਨ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਚਰਦੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਭਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਰਥ ਅਤੇ ਰਥਵਾਨ ਦੀ ਮਿਸਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਸਮਝਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਯਤਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ। ਆਪ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਯੁੱਗ ਯੁੱਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਥ ਤੇ ਰਥਵਾਨ ਬਦਲਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਰਫ ਗਿਆਨੀ ਪੁਰਸ਼ ਹੀ ਸਮਝਦੇ ਹਨ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਹ ਦੇ 4 ਹਿੱਸਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸ਼੍ਰੋਮਣੀ ਭਾਵ ਮੁਤਾਬਿਕ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਰਥ ਤੇ ਰਥਵਾਨ ਬਾਰੇ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ। ਆਪ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਸਤਯੁਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੰਤੋਖ ਦਾ ਰਥ ਸੀ, ਭਾਵ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੰਤੋਖ ਦਾ ਭਾਵ ਪ੍ਰਬਲ ਸੀ। ਰਥਵਾਨ ਧਰਮ ਸੀ, ਭਾਵ ਉਸ ਧਰਮ ਤੋਂ ਦਿਸ਼ਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਕਾਰਜ ਕਰਦੇ ਸਨ। ਤ੍ਰੇਤੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਥ ਜਤ ਭਾਵ ਸੰਜਮ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਦਰੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖਣ ਦਾ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਰਥਵਾਨ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਸੀ। ਦੁਆਪਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਥ ਤਪ ਦਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਰਥਵਾਨ ਸਤ ਭਾਵ ਧਨ ਦਾਨ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਕਲਯੁਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਥ ਅੱਗ ਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਰਥਵਾਨ ਝੂਠ ਹੈ। Meaning in English, O Nanak, the soul of the body has one chariot and one charioteer. In age after age, they change. The spiritually wise understand this. In the golden age of Satyug, contentment was the chariot, and the righteousness the charioteer. In the silver age of Treta Yuga, celibacy was the chariot and the power the charioteer. In the brass age of Dwapar Yuga, penance was the chariot and the truth the charioteer. In the iron age of Kaljug, fire is the chariot and falsehood the charioteer. महला पहला। साम कहे से तंबर स्वामी, सच में आछे साच रहे, सबको साथ समावे। गिर कहे रेहा परपूरे, राम नाम देवा में सूरे। नाय लाए पछताए जाहे, नानक तोस मोखंतर पाहे। जो मैं जोर छली चंद्रावली, कान कृष्ण दामद पाए। पारजात गोपी लैव आया, वृंदावन में रंग किया। कल में बेद अर्थान हुआ, नाव खुदाई अल्लाह पाया। नील बस्तर के कपड़े पहरे, तुरक पठानी अमल किया। चारे वेद होए सिचार, पढ़े गिने ते चार विचार। पौध भगत कर नीच सदाए, तो नानक संतोख तुर पाए। सरल अर्थ in ਪੰਜਾਬੀ। ਇਸ ਸ਼ਲੋਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਛਲੇ ਸ਼ਲੋਕ ਵਾਲੇ ਭਾਵ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਅੱਗੇ ਤੋਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਸਤਯੁਗ ਸਮੇਂ ਵੇਦ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਸਤੰਬਰ ਸਵਾਮੀ ਭਾਵ ਸ਼ਵੇਤ ਕੇਤੂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸੱਚਾ ਸੱਚ ਉੱਤੇ ਦ੍ਰਿੜ ਰਹੇ ਅਤੇ ਸਭ ਲੋਕ ਸੱਚ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਮਾ ਜਾਵਨ। ਤ੍ਰੇਤਾ ਯੁੱਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਿਗਵੇਦ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਰਾਮ ਸਰਬ ਵਿਆਪਕ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਰਾਮ ਨਾਮ ਸਭ ਦੇਵਤਿਆਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਲਵਾਨ ਹੈ। ਰਾਮ ਭਾਵ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਵਰ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਲੈਣ ਨਾਲ ਸਭ ਪਾਪ ਝੜ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਨ ਅਤੇ ਮੁਕਤੀ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਦੁਆਪਰ ਦੇ ਯੁੱਗ ਯਜੁਰਵੇਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਹੈ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਨਾ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਆਪ ਯਾਦਵ ਵੰਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਏ। ਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਨਾਲ ਗੋਵਰਧਨ ਮਲ ਦੀ ਇਸਤਰੀ ਚੰਦਰਾਵਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਮੋਹ ਲਿਆ। ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਗੋਪੀ ਸਤਭਾਮਾ ਦੀ ਖਾਤਰ ਸਵਰਗ ਦੇ 5 ਬਿਰਛਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਇੱਛਾਵਾਂ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਬਿਰਛ ਪਾਰਜਤ ਪਟ ਕੇ ਲੈ ਆਏ ਅਤੇ ਆਪ ਨੇ ਬ੍ਰਿੰਦਾਵਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਲੀਲਾ ਰਚਾਈਆਂ। ਕਲਯੁਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਥਰਵੇਦ ਪ੍ਰਸਿੱਧ ਹੋਇਆ। ਇਸ ਯੁੱਗ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਰਾਜ ਹੋਣ ਕਾਰਨ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਲਾ ਅੱਲਾ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ। ਨੀਲੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਪਾਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਤੁਰਕਾਂ ਅਤੇ ਪਠਾਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਰਾਜ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਆਪੋ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੁਕਤੇ ਤੋਂ ਚਾਰੇ ਵੇਦ ਸੱਚੇ ਸਾਬਤ ਹੋਏ ਹਨ। ਜੋ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਭਲੀ ਭਾਂਤ ਪੜ੍ਹਦੇ ਅਤੇ ਡੂੰਘਿਆਈ ਨਾਲ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਵਿਚਾਰਾਂ ਦਾ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਪੂਰਵਕ ਪ੍ਰਭੂ ਦੀ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਧਾਰਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਨੀਵੀਂ ਤੋਂ ਨੀਵੀਂ ਦਾਸਾਂ ਦਾ ਦਾਸ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਮੁਕਤੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ। Meaning in English, the Samaved says that the Lord Master is robed in white. In the age of truth, everyone desired the truth, abided in truth, and was merged in truth. The Rig Veda says that God is permeating and pervading everywhere. Among the deities, the Lord's name is the most exalted. Chanting the name, sins depart. O Nanak, then one obtains salvation. In Yajurveda, Kan Krishna of the Yadav tribe seduced Chandravali by force. He brought the Elysian tree for his milkmaid and revelled in Vrindavan. In the dark age of Kali Yuga, the Atharvaveda became the prominent. Allah became the name of God. Men began to wear blue robes and garments. Turks and Pathans assumed power. The 4 Vedas each claim to be true. Reading and studying them, 4 doctrines are found. With loving devotional worship, abiding in humility, O Nanak, salvation is attained. पौड़ी सतगुर विटे वारिया जित मिलिया खसम समालिया जिनकर उपदेश ज्ञान अंजन दिया इन्नी नेत्री जुगत निहालिया खसम छोड़ दूजे लागे डूबे से वणजाइए सतगुर होए बोहेथ्या विरले किन्ने विचारिया कर कृपा पार उतारिया। अर्थ इन पंजाबी। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਫਰਮਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਨ, ਬਲਿਹਾਰੀ ਜਾਈਏ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਤੇ ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਮਿਲਣ ਨਾਲ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੱਲ ਮਾਲਕ ਦੀ ਯਾਦ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੋਈ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਬਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਰੂਪੀ ਸੁਰਮਾ ਪਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਜਿਸ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਦਾ ਅਸਲ ਰੂਪ ਅਤੇ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਦਿਸ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਚੇਤਾਵਨੀ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜੋ ਲੋਕ ਮਨੁੱਖਾਂ ਜਨਮ ਦੀ ਸੁਨਹਿਰੀ ਅਵਸਰ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਕੁੱਲ ਮਾਲਕ ਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਰਚਨਾ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਕਲਾਂ ਪਦਾਰਥਾਂ ਦੇ ਮੋਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਫਸੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਉਹ ਭਵ ਸਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਗੋਤੇ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਵਿਰਲੇ ਵਡਭਾਗੀ ਜੀਵ ਹਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਜਾਂ ਸਿੱਟੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਦੇ ਹਨ ਕਿ ਭਵ ਸਾਗਰ ਤੋਂ ਪਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲਾ ਜਹਾਜ਼ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਹੈ। ਜਿਹੜੇ ਭਾਗਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜੀਵ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਰਨ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਾਰ ਉਤਾਰਾ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਨ। And now the translation in English. I am a sacrifice to the true Guru. Meeting him, I have come to cherish the Lord Master. He has taught me and given me the healing ointment of spiritual wisdom, and with these eyes I behold the world. Those dealers who abandon their Lord and Master and attach themselves to another are drowned. The true Guru is the boat, but few are those who realize this. Granting his grace, he carries them across. Thank you, my holy family, for giving me an opportunity to do this seva. As always, I have made many mistakes in recitation and pronunciation. Please forgive me for my mistakes. And with the blessings of Ishwarji and Baba Sawan Singh Ji Maharaj and the blessings of my holy family, I will continue this seva next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sister Tina. We love you. We love your seva, and we're looking forward for next week. So thank you so much. And now I'm gonna play some clips and then the video of Ishwar Puriji. Enjoy.
I have tried to avoid going to hell. I got a chance a couple of times. Sometimes I find that it is not difficult to go to hell because we can make a hell of our life right here. Many of us are living in hell. And our experiences with people, experiences with close relations can be hellish. And I sometimes wonder about a special relationship. And I read a story this morning which said that a man went to a wizard and he said, I have a curse upon me. And can you remove the curse? The wizard said, if you can remember the exact words of the curse, maybe I can try to remove it. So the man said, I can remember those words of the curse. It said, I pronounce you man and wife. You can know. Now, people by mistake have visited here. There was a lady, and her name was Bibi Rakhi, a disciple of Great Master. Bibi Rakhi was in the Dera and was a very advanced soul. And she was flying up in the skies and was having higher experiences all the time. And there are two stories of her, two episodes of her, which I remember because she was our neighbor. In the Dera we had a house and her house was just next to us. A little small rooms, but it was like our house there. And she was very fond of me. In fact, she died in my house later on when I was working for government. She had beautiful experiences. And I'll tell you two of her experiences. One was that one day she started screaming. And We tried to open a door, she wouldn't open the door and she was screaming. Ultimately, we had to break the door because we could hear her screaming. We said, this is such a peaceful, calm lady, something must have happened drastically bad that she's screaming today. So we broke the door and she was screaming inside. But she was sitting like in a lotus position, like she was meditating and screaming. So we ran to the great master's house and told her that Bibi, that lady is screaming. He said, I'll come there quickly. So he went there and we all tried to stop the Bibi from screaming. She wouldn't listen. Then the great master went there and he says, Bibi, why are you screaming? And she said, I am in hell. He said, why did you go to hell? She said, out of curiosity. He said, I told you, it is not necessary to go into curiosity like this. You should not have gone there. You should have stayed with me. Why did you run aside to the... Just wanted to see what is happening there. And that's what she described. She said, they are hanging people upside down and burning them. I can see the fire, they're burning them. They're cutting people to pieces. They're causing so much pain. It is such terrible sight. I am crying for that. And Great Master said, are they hurting you? She said, no, they're not hurting me. Then why are you crying? Because I can't stand the pain that they are suffering. So she described a very bad image of the hell where torture was going on in such bad way. And that's the description she was giving while she was there. Then Great Master said, now come out of this hell. She says, Master, I don't know how to come out. I'm trapped myself here. He said, repeat the 5 words I gave you as Simran. Master, at this horror, I've forgotten the words. He said, can you hear my voice? She said, yes, I can hear your voice. Okay, follow my voice and keep coming out as I speak to you. And shortly she opened her eyes, put her head on his feet and said, never again will I try that kind of an experience out of curiosity. So I'm only mentioning that there are people who have had those experiences, terrible experiences. Punishment in hell can be quite bad, but so can the pleasures of hell be great too. So it's all based upon pairs of opposites. The second experience I was going to tell you about that baby was that she used to meditate for long periods. And one day, when she was going to her house, into that house, she stepped over a piece of gur or jaggery, brown sugar. There are some pieces we eat as they are in India. And she put her foot on that, and this little sugar stuck to her feet. And she went in and was meditating. She didn't open the door for 2 days. So we got worried that she might have died inside. And there was a doctor. Her name was Dr. Shakuntala in Kapurthala. And that doctor loved Great Master, but didn't believe any word of his teachings. She said it goes against all medical science that she has learned. Whatever they say is all made up by the mind. It's only hallucination. It's all just created by the mind, by illusions, and there's no reality in any higher stages, and so on. So Dr. Shakuntala would come and see Great Master often. Now when this lady went and did not open the door, we pushed the door open again. The second incident that I remember of this kind. And there she was in meditation, quietly, and there were ants going to the place where the sugar was. They were eating up the sugar and they were eating up the heel. And half the heel had been eaten up by those insects as she was still meditating. We were so shocked. And we called Great Master. Master, Bibi is sitting with her heel being eaten up by ants. And she's not even waking up. Great Master came and saw. He said, call Dr. Shakuntala. Let her see her. So a car was sent and Dr. Shakuntala came in about an hour or 45 minutes. And Great Master said, Doctor, examine this patient. The doctor said, This is terrible. She is in a state of coma right now, because there's no way that she could stay in a conscious state with this going on, and she is in a very deep coma. And the great master said, in deep coma, do you still retain the same reflexes, and do you still retain the same vital functions? She said, no, they are all lowered. They are all diminished. Even reflexes are diminished. He said, will you check her vital force, vital signs? And she put her stethoscope and she checked. She said, the heart beat is fine, breathing is fine, all vital signs are fine, blood pressure is fine. And what about the reflexes? So she took out little hammer. She hit there and she said, all reflexes are fine. And then great master said, then how do you say she's in a coma? And he said, because she's unconscious. In spite of this kind of injury to her heel, and we can see how so much injured, and she's unaware of it, it has to be deep coma. He said, no, doctor, she's traveling in the higher regions. She's right now gone into Khand Brahmand and is having a great ride there. And the doctor said, Master, I love you, but this is no time for jokes. This is time to take this patient to the best hospital you can. I don't think she will survive. You better take her immediately. Even my small hospital cannot take care of her. You take her to Lahore, which is a bigger hospital, and she should be removed immediately. You should call an ambulance or take her in your car. Great Master said, but I think she is enjoying her ride. I can call her and tell you. He said, how can you call her to tell me about it? So Great Master turned to the Bibi and said, Bibi, come out. And Bibi opened her eyes, put her head on the bed. Tell us what you were seeing. She said, I was flying in such beautiful places. And that's what I was seeing. She began to describe the whole causal plane. And then after that, Dr. Shakuntala became his disciple. Otherwise, he never believed in these things. That one case made it. I thought I might share this story with you. Thank you. Do we experience pain or suffering on the astral plane? How do we feel it without a physical body? We do not suffer pain or pleasure on our bodies at all, not even here. When we have pain on our body, it's the astral body suffering, not this body. Physical body does not suffer pain or pleasure. You can take the awareness out by anesthesia, by putting your attention away, there's no pain. You can use acupuncture, have no pain. You can just shift the attention away. The body by itself does not have any pain or pleasure or any other sensation. The sense perceptions are all built into the astral self. Therefore, whether we have pain or pleasure here or in the astral self, they are always on the astral self. That's where the sense perceptions are. So that is why we don't need this body for pain and pleasure. We need the astral self, the sense perceptions, to have pain and pleasure.
The
Difference between dream world and astral world. The dream world is a lower state of consciousness and looks, when you wake up, looks much less real than the wakeful world. The astral world is more real than the physical world. When you back here, you know that you visited a more real world. There's a difference between the two levels. The dream world creates laws of nature of a dream world which are different from the laws of the physical world, but they destroy your free will completely. With no knowledge of the future, and yet you have no free will in a dream. In a dream, you are swiftly moving from one scene to another, and although you think this will happen like that, things just move across as if a pre-programmed scene is going on. In the physical world, which looks more real because the free will looks very real. In the astral world, Although you lose free will, but you can see the future, so you know how it is programmed. Big difference between the dream world and astral world. On this second day and final day of our 2-day event in Montreal, I'm very happy to be here again with friends. And yesterday they were friends, old and new. Today they're all old friends now. In one day we have become friends. Friendship is the most important thing in human life. I do not know anything more important than true friendship. We have been separated to have an experience of friendship. True friendship, of course, involves true love also. But true friendship is where you never give up that friendship. Once you call somebody a friend, friend forever. I don't know how many human beings have had that experience of having a friend forever. But those who have had the chance to be initiated by a perfect living master have that experience. A perfect living master is a friend forever. When I say forever, I don't mean forever only in this life, even beyond this life. Friend forever means really forever. This kind of relationship that one can have with a perfect living master is very unique. Perfect living masters know our weaknesses. They know we are governed by our minds. We are being carried away all the time with our minds by thinking about things. Therefore, they know in what predicament we are. Therefore, they are never going to ever scold us or say, don't do this, don't do that. There are too many people doing that already. They only come to love us. They only come to show compassion. Their compassion and love is extraordinary. Perfect living masters love us, whether we love them or not, whether we have feelings or not. Once they accept us as a friend, their friendship remains constant. Their love remains constant. And they love us no matter what our weakness is, no matter what we do. They love us if we love them. They love us if we hate them. They love us if we kill them. That's the kind of love perfect living masters have for us. I have not seen any example like that, but I've seen examples that perfect living masters have that kind of love. This kind of unconditional love is born out of the fact that they are living in the state of love. They have reached a state of being in which there is nothing but love. So they represent love in a personified form, in a human form. It's a very rare experience. The more we associate with them, the more we discover their strange, permanent love for us. Their whole method of coming and taking us back to our true home is through love. They pull us with their love. Our mind wants to learn things. Mind wants to be taught something. Mind says, now to love you, what should I do? Nobody does anything when one falls in love. Love is an experience that comes by itself. Therefore, the mind wants to do something, always. Mind says, now what is my role? What am I supposed to do? Therefore, temporarily, they become teachers. They teach us how to meditate. They teach us how to go inside our own self. They teach us how to validate the statements they make. They teach us all this just for the sake of the mind, not for the sake of our true self, our soul. Our soul needs no training and no teaching at all. Our soul only needs the pull of love to go back home. And that is why these extraordinary people, who we call perfect living masters, they're very ordinary to look at, very ordinary the way they live. They live just like us. They're born like us, they die like us, they get sick like us, they go to hospital like us, they eat food like us. They are no different. But their awareness, their consciousness is total. That means at all times, no matter what time of the day or night it is, no matter whether we think they are sleeping or they are awake. They are constantly in touch with our true home, totality of consciousness. This makes them totally different in terms of awareness and consciousness. So that is why when we are in their company, we are affected by that consciousness, not by their life, not by what they do. That is why sometimes we are confused and puzzled by seeing some of them. And we say, how can they be any higher than others if they can fall sick like anybody else? If they are hungry like anybody else? If they live their life just like anybody else, how can they be more advanced? They should be able to fast for 40 days without eating. They should be able to fly in the sky. They should be able to do extraordinary things. There are some people who do that also. But those people are trying to show off that we have something extraordinary. It's a game of ego. These masters don't come to show their ego at all. They do not want to say that they are different from others, because they are not different in terms of human life. The awareness is different, and when they want to take us back home, it's their love that pulls us. And we can feel it inside, beyond the mind. Mind can resist. Mind creates doubt. It's a programmed doubt. The mind has been designed to create doubt. It's a good thing. Doubt is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. If the mind had no doubt, we would be so credulous, whatever anybody says, we'd believe. The mind does have a screening system, and that happens through doubt. Skepticism is part of the mental faculty of judging something is true or not. So that is why the mind doubts, the soul does not. Therefore, we have a strange experience of something pulling us, and the mind says, be careful, be sure, don't be very in a haste. It's okay. That's how it should work. And it works like that. The mind is fond of pleasure. Mind likes pleasurable things. And therefore, the mind only gets convinced that this is a correct path if it can get more pleasure in meditation than it gets outside, which takes a while. And that is why the mind fights for a while till it can have certain experiences inside which are more pleasurable than the experiences outside. The mind begins to join in the search for the truth and becomes a partner of the soul. This phase where the mind has to become a friend instead of an enemy takes a while. And that is, it happens. The mind also gets convinced if it has got pleasure, if it finds something interesting. That is why the first stage of experiences in meditation can be very, very pleasant and very nice. You can fly and go anywhere you like. People have interest. Is there any alien life somewhere in the galaxies? Scientists are just guessing. They're trying to find, are there any planets like ours? In the astral plane, you can go to those places and see the different kind of alien that live there. This planet is not the only one having living beings. There's several planets having living beings. They're part of this universe. But we, just from physical means, have not been able to reach there. Astral plane, you can reach there and see the different laws of nature operating in those planets. Just an example. This Earth planet has been growing in its talent and population for many years, maybe a couple of billion years. It's a planet, just like other planets revolving around stars. This one is also revolving around stars. This is not the newest planet. There are planets which are earlier than this, and in the astral plane you can visit them. There is one planet which is way advanced of us. They have no idea about us. We have no idea about them. But one feature which I can mention to you now is that they have controlled time through a gadget. Now, we have no control over time right now. Actually, our scientists are a little concerned that if Einstein was right, that time-space is one unit and time is merely an ordinate of space, and we can move backwards and forwards in space, why can't we move backwards and forwards in time? It should be the same thing. If it is the same thing, they say it's one unit. Time-space is one unit, accepted by every scientist today. And in space, we can go forward and come back. Why not in time if it's just an ordinate of space? They have not found the answer yet. In that planet, they not only have found the answer that you can move in time exactly like in space. And they got a little gadget, a scientific gadget by which they can go ahead. Just like while we are walking and we can walk ahead of somebody else, they can walk faster and catch up with us. In that planet, one man can say, I'm in a hurry, and goes to tomorrow. And we are still in today. And then the others can catch up by going a little faster. This is so unique for a human being to see that there is things like that happening, and they take it for granted. They've used this for so long that they think it's a normal thing. They can't imagine that in another planet this is not possible, or at least not possible at this time. So I'm just giving one example, but there's so many things which are so different. This is a very vast universe, and the astral universe is even vaster. So you can have such beautiful experiences, explorations, and so on. People try to lose weight here because of matter. It's only the matter, the physical matter, that is making us heavy. There is no weight problem in the astral plane. And then imagination becomes the reality in the astral plane. Whatever you want to be, you can become. And it's a remarkable experience. When you have those experiences, mind feels very happy. It says, I didn't know this is possible. Not only that, you also realize that that is more real than this one. This is not as real as that experience. And when you realize that, mind becomes a good partner in going further. So there is just a little gap till the mind becomes a friend. Otherwise, it's always trying to stop us, because creating doubts about the very path itself, about the very nature of this path. So they're always looking for evidence. People are looking for evidence on these statements. They don't go in to see the evidence. Anybody can see the evidence. I remember in a university where I went as a student, and I was giving a talk that is a scientific method. And a scientist was sitting very cynically, because he was almost putting his feet up on the next chair, just to show that, oh, this doesn't matter. And he got up and said, how dare you call this meditational system a science? There's no science involved in this. I said, what is your definition of science? He said, my definition is that you do it in a controlled condition, and you can have a controlled experiment and controlled results, verifiable, over and over again. We do that. I said, I know you work in that particular lab on the 6th floor of that building, and I noticed that you keep the windows shut. Yes, because we have some measurement tools there, and if a breeze comes in, they can be upset. I said, can you not imagine that the Creator has given us a natural lab to work in, called our head? It's a natural lab. We do experiments exactly like you do. Do experimentation inside. Keep the windows closed. These are our eyes. Keep these windows closed too. And then you'll have a good result. And verify and check with others who are having the same experience. Are they not verified and validated? Why do you feel that the experimentation should be only in what you observe outside and not what can be observed inside? And I said, if you carefully examine, it's very scientific. All the principles of science apply, except you don't call it empirical science, because empirical science means look outside only, don't look inside. So there's a scientific method, and it's the science of discovering what else is there, and it's not merely discovering that there's a mind working there and you can look at the brain and how it works. You should see what the mind is capable of seeing, what the eyes are capable of seeing, which they can't see here. All that can be opened up if you go scientifically into your own lab, placed directly on top of your body. Everybody has that lab, and they can go into it. So I had to convince him about the scientific side of it. It's not that arbitrary that somebody is just getting a hallucination of one thing or the other. It is a very consistent thing that what we see, how we move from one stage to the other, is very consistent. There is this physical experience we are having now. And there's an astral experience. Astral experience is a different world, a world from where this world is being created. Everything that is here in this world has an original there. There's a copy. There's not original. There's a copy. You can find everything in its original thing there, of everything that you see here. And there is a certain area which is an overlap. It's interesting. People have sometimes asked me, explain the overlap a little better. The overlap is the lower part of the astral plane, and that overlaps the physical plane, which means when we meditate at first time, we are also connected with the physical world. We fly around in the physical world, like I explained. That's the overlap. The higher part of the astral plane is quite different. There you will find the original of everything, but not in the overlap. The overlap is used so that we can be existing in a similar state when we die. When we die, we don't go to the astral plane. We go to the overlap. That is why we are still conscious and still experiencing this physical world. They are disembodied spirits, those who have died, but they're still here. They don't go away anywhere. How can a person who is dead be still here? It's in a disembodied astral form, sensory form, but still moving around in the physical plane. How long? Till the age in the overlap finishes and they come back reborn. Most people are reborn pretty soon after going into disembodied state. Some stay longer. For example, if a person dies by murder, unnatural death, murder, suicide, accident, one of these things which we would say is a premature death. There is such a thing as a premature death, since each one of us has a notional life. The notional life is what normally would be alive if an unnatural accident does not happen. If something unnatural happens, it interrupts the notional life. Supposing somebody has a notional life of 85 years, at age 40, an unnatural event takes place, one of these, the person will still be in the overlap for the remaining 45 years. Because that's the notion life, to stay here. And that 45 years will be spent in following up the desires and following up what was missed out and what is still in the mind. The mind is still the same, sense perceptions are still the same. There is no body. There is no physical body. Astral body or the sensory body is still there. People say that our house is haunted by somebody dying. Now, the person who was living, somebody said, I think my grandma is still here in my house, people tell me. I say, okay, I'll go and talk to your grandma. Can you do that? I say, sometimes I can by accident. I can sometimes talk to them. I'll tell you an experience of a friend of mine in Chicago area. He was looking for a house to buy. Let's try today